noticed that we don't see a ton of male climaxes in film and television? I certainly have. When it comes to instances of female pleasure in film and television, instances are readily available. These are just top of mind for me. Very interesting way of putting that. But when it comes to men, I can't really think of any off the top of my head, except one, but we'll get to that later. This scene from the Gossip Girl reboot has 2 men in it, and we only see her pleasure face. In pursuit of examples, I watched 50 simulated climaxes in film and television, and they fall into these categories. Category 1 is the exaggerated for laughs. Category 2 is the finishing quickly, also often played for laughs. Category 3 is disturbing or unfortunate circumstances. Category 4 is when his face is hidden behind hers. Category 5 is he's by himself. And category 6 is just they don't really look like they look like they're waiting in line at a CC's buffet. I have 2 theories about this. Theory number 1 is, of course, the male gaze. I'm not going to be looking at the camera. I am going to be looking at myself. I'm sorry about it. I know that's in poor taste, but it's what I'm going to be doing. Laura Mulvey, who wrote the essay that coined the phrase the male gaze, writes, "In a world ordered by sexual imbalance, pleasure in looking has been split between active male and passive female. In their traditional exhibitionist role, women are simultaneously looked at and displayed, with their appearance coded for strong visual and erotic impact so that they can be said to connote to be looked atness." It's basically, women are these sexual erotic things, and we get to see them in that form whenever we want. They are meant to be looked at in that form, as evidenced by the amount of times we see them as such in film and television. But we don't even think of men that way. Theory number 2, and these are not mutually exclusive, is what I call the Oscar Wilde theory. Oscar Wilde is credited with saying, "Everything in the world is about sex, except sex. Sex is about power." Sexual prowess is power, but it's also power over somebody specifically. A blogger named Casper puts it best in his essay, "Money Shot Towards a Representation of Male Orgasm on Screen." The implication, I think, is that to be shown at orgasm is to display your vulnerability. Therefore, these scenes represent an act of power over the women by the men, who are able to find the key to their moment of powerlessness. To flip the switch would mean casting men as submissive, since to orgasm is to lose control, make yourself defenseless. All of these instances of female pleasure are not actually about female pleasure, but about male power. Look how Oscar Isaac's character is making Elizabeth Olsen's character absolutely out of control of herself. That's power. Another thing about this is the math in this particular instance is not in fact mathing. The orgasm gap is the biggest between heterosexual men and heterosexual women. Roll the tape. Who is doing it right? The question of the hour. I'm so glad you asked. I don't know if I've ever talked about this show before, but it's called Normal People, and it's the best show that's ever existed ever. It's the best show for a lot of reasons, and maybe one day I'll make a video about why it's the best show ever, but one of the main reasons that it's the best show is it talks about consent and mutual pleasure. Look at this. Look at this reciprocity. Oh my goodness. She's in that sweet, sweet 65%, I just know it. So happy for them. I'm really, really happy for them. If you have any other examples of male pleasure on screen that for science, I could go and, if you just want to put it in the comments and let me know, if you want to let me, for science purposes, then you go ahead and you do that. Okay.